Hello everyone, welcome to Skywatch Media News. This is the second week of September 2017. There has been a number of prognosticators in years past who have placed dates for the near-Earth passage of the Nemesis Nibiru system. But as a researcher and analyst of Planet X, and one who follows the teachings of the spoken word, I do not, nor will I at any time, place dates for future events of such severe magnitude as the near-Earth passage of a massive planetary system. As I have already mentioned, the emphasis should be on the indicators which warn of its arrival, the ever-increasing intensification of Earth changes now happening on planet Earth. Only those in utter denial, who carry a blind eye, will argue the obvious, which is that great changes are now upon us. Several of these changes are indicators that point to an increased Earth wobble, which then will forewarn us that a pole shift is in the works. Now, they can argue and dispute what's happening until the end, but all the indicators tell us that the Nibiru system is arriving into our inner solar system. Everything is falling into place as was foretold from the time that we first learned that something ominous was coming our way. One researcher who has been following this system closely is Marshall Masters. Many of you know about his work or have read any number of books that he has written on the subject. He has indicated that Nibiru, which is the outermost planet of the Nemesis system, has crossed the orbit of Earth on the other side of the Sun and is approaching perihelion in its orbit. The Earth wobble has been observed for the past few years and has steadily gotten more severe as the system gets closer. The Inuit elders of the Arctic frontier had warned NASA about the tilting of the Earth axis in 2011. Who would know more about this than those who follow the sun and the stars as a guide in determining the changes that are occurring on Earth?
Mana udlumi yung ikakang ni makon nikaw na nito naratuwa. Kukira ang nain naksun. Eman narunang itigini nga mana udsok narunang ito kau yung manaktong. Udlunga tawang na pukto na sa ulat to tayo sa mga walaman. Kau yung malakang karotunga. Kaya udsok na sila. Kano'y nabalot sa mga ramang tanali. Kasi malaki takasyakin. Taban tayo mga tabanin yung tao kumatana. Kasi malaki takasyakin. Tabang nga anak kasungo kami. Sukasungo kami karuan lang kami. Pawala ko tulad tinido. Kasi yan tayo ba kanya dokparok sa mga tanan na naman. Tayo ba ubaruni pa umat tapawa. Ubarparok sa mga Ubarparok sa mga alungin tapawa. Pakiparok sa mga tanan na naman. Isa mga katako. Kaya ba tagataan na ukaw sa kanya malaki katakataan sa kanya. Sila.
Nunak yobot. Kityakluk pa lang nga. Kasi naligalaki umat. Kangan lalo ng mga kakao nga. Sukuy ng itakakisyan eh. Kawin si pa niyo nga. Sa pinak. Kapag nga. Nanubulik. Mga nga. Sa umiyano, nipikatalak si mga kalawangat. Nunak yobatan na. Kasi naligalaki manak silyo ko. Mga nga. Nauyamit siya ng nga. Takasyo mo natin sa kanya.
Sa kinatay ka ako si Titigaan ito. Sukay ma, nung nakikitlok pa naman sa kinatpaw na pa dito ng ano. Aking nga nagsarang mag-o. Ako si Bad Kaktok. ukaro kakatiak po yung naman sa. Ito man nasa ngayon ko lugaruan. Kasi ano ang naksangin at pangon nakapakawak to kaya kung napagayap sa diyong ayaw sakto na kamarit ko ang niyo pinito manang minatot sa kuya wala ko ma ug kaya kang giyakangan. Tamak ko adi yung naktangin ikong nga dun imon na wala ko sa mayakarwa. Kaya man na yun nila. Amma ang wala ko sa mga migat amang maralak sa maralak to. Tamak ko ug kaya amma kanoy liwat sa madagat ko. Sila kanoy liwat ila nuna kanoy liwat sa saya mana urak sudah iman aja ngawadah kuning abung ngordul di iman dapat dua saya kalau iman aja kaya ngarak sebut jauh ngordul ni Indo anu kita nak mangak pada kuil ni anu wang dia ketia untuk tahu sama itu kau dunia ni kisu yak tahu yang nama saya tu ni ambil abang saya mengatin ni ano kali araw rokso ni tayo na ano kaya yung ito araw rokso may yotahan na tawag na ano ka sangiyo araw magayon na rokso ni tawag na ito iman na sila ko yun doon ito huwag niyo aji pa do araw.
So there it is. The elders who were interviewed across the north all said the same thing. The sky has changed. The stars, the sun, and the moon have all changed, affecting the temperature, even affecting the way the wind blows. So it seems, according to their astute observations, that Earth has shifted, wobbled, or tilted to the north. Within the past few months, the Earth's wobble has become greater, with a shift of about 8 degrees north. Coincidentally, the 2017 storm track has also shifted about 8 degrees north. This is an indication that changes are upon us. In the past few weeks, the extreme weather has greatly intensified across the planet, in another indication that changes are upon us. What is happening along the coasts of South America is an indication of how intense this earth wobble phenomenon has become. The tidal movement of the oceans, which we call spring and king tides, are behaving in mysterious ways. Abnormality that has manifested and increased in the past decade. This is a certain indication of an axis shift, and therefore indicators of the arrival of the Planet X system in our inner solar system. The sloshing of the ocean tides along coastlines can only be caused by an outside gravitational force. It is not a product of weather manipulation or the result of unusual wind patterns in the upper atmosphere. The earth wobble tides along the coastlines are brought on by the presence of a celestial intruder, as was forewarned in the prophecy of Saint Hildegard. As you read the passage from this prophecy, it must remind you of the devastation of Hurricane Harvey and Irma, both of which have caused great misery and death across the Caribbean and the United States. In just the past month, various parts of the world have been seeing tidal flooding, with areas permanently underwater, causing inhabitants to seek refuge where it can be found. The king tides, as well as other earth changes, will continue to worsen as Planet X approaches ever closer. The facts do not lie, as they are indicators of what is upon us. As Planet X comes out from behind the sun, as it crosses the point of perihelion and travels in an outbound journey, it will pass between our Earth and the sun, at which time its passage will trigger the 7 years of tribulation, as stated in the book of Isaiah, whereby the Earth will stagger to and fro. This will then be the time when cataclysmic changes will take place on Earth. Now, I should point out that although there will be celestial warning signs in the heavens in September, later this month, in the constellation Virgo, whereby Nibiru will appear in the winter months, the catastrophic influence of the celestial nemesis will not be fully known until which time the intruder passes between our Earth and the Sun. So here's what I am saying so that you may understand and grasp the significance of this time. The passage of this great intruder is dependent on the signs of 2017 and the visible manifestation of this planetary object, or objects as it may be, before the great event will come to pass. I cannot tell you with any certainty when that day will occur, as it is entirely dependent on the signs here on Earth and in the heavens. But what I can tell you is to keep looking for those signs, as they are certainly being manifest at this time. Take a look at these comparison images of Nibiru, which were enlarged by digital enhancement to show its proximity between April of 2016 and March of this year. As you can see, its circumference has become bigger, indicating that it is coming closer to the Earth. This, then, is an indicator that something is approaching. The great warning which will be known is a shift in consciousness, whereby the period of tribulation will begin. So now would be the most important period in your lifetime in which to get your spiritual house in order. One of the signs that foretells of its coming is the societal chaos we now see in our communities and cities across the world, as well as the economic hard times that many are suffering, which fits into the 2017 to 2020 window of passage for Planet X, as was described by government insiders as far back as the year 1989. Remember this: the best way to know of an impending cataclysm is to follow the signs and indicators as I have described them in this video. Try not to worry over dates, as the actual indicators are the major signs of an earth wobble, the abnormal shuffling of the tides, an unusual uptick in seismic and volcanic activity, and the increasing intensity of extreme weather. These are the signs and indicators that you must look for. All indications are showing that the intruder is moving closer to perihelion with our sun. Time is fleeing. So if you have the means and the wherefore, then by all means prepare and get yourself ready for what is coming. Extreme weather is a big indicator of the immense changes that are now happening on this planet. There were events that were catastrophic as well as unprecedented during the track of Hurricane Irma through the Caribbean and the Florida Peninsula last week. Events that the mainstream media doesn't care to talk about. We all know how the cable news networks focused most of their attention on Florida and the devastation that Irma wrought in the U.S. But Cuba was also devastated by Irma, and yet we know very little about what happened there. But here is what happened so that you may know how terrible it was. The island was hit by 185-mile-per-hour winds, the first Category 5 storm to hit the island in over 80 years. The city of Havana was severely flooded, with over 5 feet of water in the historic district, due in large part to a monster storm surge that reached levels of 30 feet or more. So while the media talks about Florida and the Virgin Islands and the devastation in those areas, they fail to tell the whole story about what happened during the passage of Irma. Why is that? Why are we not getting the whole story about what went down during this journey of destruction this past week? I have explained how the unprecedented retreat of the ocean tides in recent weeks in many parts of the world is an event that can only be caused by an outside gravitational force. The mainstream media, which refused to report on these mysterious events that were happening in South America and elsewhere, suddenly found themselves having to report on this phenomenon in recent days, as this strange event was observed along the Gulf Coast of the United States. The media was quick to explain this phenomenon as being caused by the winds of Irma. But what they fail to explain is that this event has been occurring in many places since the onset of the eclipse on August 21st. So again, it seems we do not get the big picture of the historical retreating of the waters as described by the media. Think about this. When is the last time that you can recall a tropical storm downgraded to a Category 3 strength when it came ashore in Florida last week that had the potential to cause the massive retreat of the coastal waters which were witnessed along the Gulf Coast of the United States? Now, this makes no sense and is just another futile effort by the National Weather Service to distract and confuse the general public on the events that are happening around the world. So when it comes to media deception, this is what I am referring to. They want you to believe that Irma caused the massive retreat of the coastal waters in Florida and Alabama in what they label as a once-in-a-lifetime tidal event. This is what they want you to believe. But when it comes to explaining this so-called once-in-a-lifetime event that has been ongoing in South America and elsewhere for weeks, they have no real explanation and they don't care to talk about it. Take a look at this image taken yesterday, September 13th, 2017, from the beach of Leblon near Rio de Janeiro. It's the same receding of the waters that we have been observing for a while now. So what is causing this? It's not Irma. She has come and gone. Can't be Hurricane Jose. It's located in the North Atlantic, thousands of miles away. So how many excuses do we have to listen to before the truth is exposed? The retreating of the ocean is becoming a great concern for many people. On September 12th, the sea receded from Argentina in this video footage. While the waters recede from one side of the Atlantic, on the other side the waters are invading, as seen from the shoreline of the United Kingdom in Lancashire on September 12th. The strange sea phenomenon is happening across the vast oceans. On September 9th, the waters receded from the coastline of Hurghada, Egypt. Here, too, the decline of the sea is raising concerns for those who are witness to this unexplained event. And so it is. The oceans are moving in strange ways that even scientists are hard-pressed to explain, and for which they have no answers. While the movement of the ocean becomes a major concern, the movement taking place on the surface of the earth is just as alarming. In Tibet, China, this incredible videotape shows how the land is slowly moving, an event that speaks volumes. Every week brings more evidence that our earth and the sky are changing. These are the events that herald in the time of sorrow and suffering. One cannot fathom the extent of these harrowing events. We can only glance in awe at what is developing. And yet we must know and realize that time is of the essence. The signs will continue to be manifest up until the time when all will be revealed. That time is quickly approaching. Look for the signs. Heed the messages that are provided for your benefit. Watch the behavior of the earth's creatures, for they are aware of what is happening. And above all, keep looking to the sky.